So this is Dina, and I'm a performing artist coming from the performing world. I'm a theater director and have been invited to join the project. And just to follow the thread of thoughts that Kasha has been sharing with us, I come to think of that we are all immigrants in this digital world, to this digital world. We are all immigrated from our theater spaces to the digital world, from our studios, from our physical libraries, from our physical human contact into this digital world. So in fact, we are now all immigrants in it, and we are learning how to be and to exist and to communicate. And I will share some of our few moments how as immigrants we were. So you can all see a little bit and get in touch of how we experimented. And as Kasha said, she had challenges with it and dislike to the digital spaces. And it was fantastic that all of four of us, we shared this common unease about being in a digital space. And that was the interesting investigation of how do we exist in this space, how do we experiment with it. And here I share with you some of our first moments, how as artists we existed in our digital space. Do you see it as full screen? These are captures that came out very much like artistic work, really, like that is still amazing for me to see how much we can also change or exist in a different way. The art forms and artworks, and these are just captures of a session that you can find online where we were experimenting with backgrounds, with all the technology that the communication technologies that we are using now give us. But in reality, there's artistic work that could come out of that. And these were all from a live session. Existing in colors. And it was so beautiful in the beginning because we were so much trapped in this 2x2 dimensions. We called it 2x2. And I think we needed these colors. We needed to experiment with trying to experiment the physical space of the screen of 2x2. And as Kasha said, when you are immigrating and starting all over, so we are really like experimenting basically, very basic stuff with our humble computers and playing around as really like just trying to learn this language of this digital space. Despite that, we always use phones and we have all done maybe videos and documentaries, but it's different when you are living and trying to practice your own practice in the digital space. So I find those very good memories of some good times we stayed together and really artworks that just came out from interacting with the digital space. Then I would like to share with you what it meant for us. How did it feel for us back then? I'm going to share with you live elements. One moment. Just a few seconds of our first session. Then you understand what it meant for us, really, and how we were.
But that one's too easy for me, so you can have that one, Brynhild, maybe.
In the classroom. Oh, well, the virtual classroom. I can talk about the virtual classroom, that we are all a little bit, we have like this Zoom fatigue or virtual fatigue for the moment in different degrees.
Yeah.
So I think this laboratory that we are in now is kind of a relief, because it's really hard to teach through digital platforms. Maybe not the story, but but something, yeah.
Well, it's a commentary, isn't it? I think it's how we're all feeling.
Yeah.
I think this was in response to that feeling, maybe, was it? That we wanted to do something a little bit more experimental.
Yeah. Make it easier and more playful.
Yeah.
Okay.
So this was the feeling. This is where we were. In reality, that's where we were ready out there when we were all back then. And it was this really free space for us. This residency gave us a space where we could meet and we could speak together and work together. First, there was this curiosity. So it was good to be offered this generous space and invitation to come together. And as Kasia pointed out, we then moved on working on our own practice and on our own projects. And for myself, the same questions actually that we had all together been investigating, the direct contact. And because of the pandemic, I had always had this, because I come from the physical world and the contact, so much contact world. And then I have been investigating the public space and the human need to reconstruct the communication with each other. And this is what we have lost of the basic human need, is to just give a hug or touch someone. And these have been taken for granted. And for myself, in the window where the COVID dropped a little bit, I had a chance to spring over with my colleagues here in Ringkøbing and at the municipality where I'm working at the moment, being an artist also in residence, to try to investigate more how we can bring together the community, work with children, work with adults, work with colleagues, how to try to investigate coming together and breaking this fear of being together in the public space, touching each other, really giving a hug to one each other. And it was interesting to be, when I'm working on this, to be in dialogue also with our colleagues here in the project, because a lot of the questions, they helped us to investigate many of those questions that we were all living differently. So here I share with you a few minutes of a video that has been edited by Kasia, and I found enormous support from the team in my investigation. the project was mostly for the participants who were in the project, who were having their own headphones, listening to a music that has been composed by Basil Hodges. And it was for them who were in the scene itself. It was not for viewers. And despite that people were feeling okay, the moments when they were coming close to each other and the feeling afterwards was very immense, because it was really strong to come together and to be in a circle together, to touch each other. It was very immense, and there was very high excitement in the group. And there was also some kind of an estrangement that you want to hug, but you want to keep protected. And it was interesting to go to the schools. So my role was to go out. This was a prova that you are seeing now. I have been going out to the schools, working with school children, working with my colleagues from the Commune. For example, here it was very strong for them, very, very strong for them. And of course, I have been reading a lot about collecting some images, investigating a hug that is free in the space, collecting also what the journalists, what the advices were on hugging. And there were some elements that were really, really strange for us to say, there is an advice on hugging. We're stopping hugging from Monday, for example. It's like, this is really, and I think I wanted to document those moments that we've been through during the COVID times, those small moments of the human need to be together, and those our everyday gestures. I wanted to document this for the sake of us to understand what we have of human connections. And then if you go online, as Alice was mentioning, you can see the full video of the children with everybody, with the children doing the project itself. Same thing, and then you can read a little more about it, and then you can see the live session with all 186 people from all ages. It was quite interesting that they were all, some of them, they didn't know each other. They just came to the grass plain, got their headphones, and were working together and meeting someone, a stranger, and just really giving that person a hug and having some music and direction on your ears. So that's what I have tried to connect with the group and converse with them, what I'm doing, how I communicate, how I communicate with my practice, coming from the performance arts world, theater, dance, and how can I get this here? So there was an immense help from the group to take the work that I'm doing and maybe putting it in the Kluven, because I think I have been the least active in making the same artwork for the digital space, because I'm from the performance art world, and there was an immense help from the other artists in the group to keep me alive and present in the project, and not, because it was easy for me just to be so busy in my own world outside. So that was always pulling me in, and there was an immense kindness and generosity, and yes, there's a lot of projects that now I dream of making with our 3 artists. Thank you.